Humans tend to believe everything they are told. Whether you see it on television, hear it on the radio, or see it in a video. It is always important to fact-check information to be sure. In this video, I will show you 10 myths that you probably believe are true, but are actually false. Let's begin. Number 10. The myth says that it is possible to see the Great Wall of China from outer space. And not only that, but it's even visible from the moon. When an astronaut travels to space, their view is something like this. And although we can clearly distinguish continents and countries in the image, seeing any details such as a building or structure made by humans is practically impossible. Even from the space station, which is only 278 kilometers from Earth, it is impossible to see the wall, and of course, much less from the moon. Number 9. We've all heard the popular myth that fish have very bad memories and can barely remember what happened a few seconds ago. The clearest example of this is Dory in Finding Nemo, which has made us believe even more that this is true. This is totally false. In fact, fish are smarter than you imagined. These aquatic creatures have a pretty good memory. They can remember predators that attacked them in the past, and even learn some tricks. For example, by associating a sound with food, they can perform tricks like a dog would. Number 8. This is one of the most widely known and famous myths in the world, and spread mostly by paranoid mothers and grandmothers, who say that if you swallow gum, it will stay stuck in your stomach for years. Well, the answer is no. The gum you swallowed as a child is not stuck in your stomach, but was expelled the next day. When you swallow it while the gum is in a moist environment like your mouth or stomach, it's not sticky and will not stick to your teeth, much less your intestines. And while nothing will happen to you if you accidentally swallow gum, it is not advisable to do it regularly, as you could suffer from other conditions. Number 7. You probably heard this myth somewhere, which states that the only sound in the world that does not produce an echo is a sound made by ducks. But is this true? Until recently, it was thought that the quack of ducks did not generate an echo. But a couple of years ago, Professor Trevor Copps demonstrated that the sound waves of the sound made by these animals also reflect when they collide with the surface. That is, they do echo. What is true is that the echo enjoyed by these birds is hardly perceptible to the human ear, and that is why it was previously thought otherwise. Number 6. This myth says that when a person or animal dies, their hair and nails continue to grow for a few days. This myth is a fallacy that has been perpetuated by horror books and movies, and I'll tell you why. Our hair and nails do not contain large amounts of water, unlike our skin, which begins to shrink and become dehydrated when we die, causing the illusion that our nails and hair are longer than they actually are. Number 5. The famous 5-second rule. This is probably one of the most absurd myths we hear every day. According to this rule, if food falls on the floor, we have only 5 seconds to pick it up before bacteria get on it. Although this myth has some truth to it, some scientists discovered that if we pick up the food that fell before 5 seconds, it will be contaminated with around 150 to 8,000 bacteria. But if we leave it for a minute, these numbers will multiply by 10 times. However, it is important to note that the presence of bacteria in food does not depend solely on the time that passes. Number 4. Since we were kids, we saw how Popeye transformed from a weak sailor to a super sailor by simply consuming a can of spinach. Could it be possible that spinach has this effect on us? It started in 1870 when a mad scientist studied and documented the amount of iron in spinach, and, to his misfortune, when he noticed the results, he mistakenly added an extra 0 to the amount of iron that this food supposedly contained. So, sorry Popeye, but this is completely false. Number 3. The next myth claims that before our blood leaves our body, it is blue or green in color. This is why our veins appear to be this color, and it's only after the blood leaves our body that it turns red. Is this true? The truth is that the blood does change color, but obviously it's neither blue nor green. Instead, it changes from a bright red when oxygenated to a dark red when deoxygenated. Veins appear to be blue or green because they carry darker blood, and with the help of light and our skin's natural pigmentation, they make them appear to be this color. Number 2. Is it true that waking up a sleepwalker could kill them, cause a heart attack, or leave them in a coma? Sleep experts note that waking up a sleepwalker could cause confusion, distress, and agitation, and they could unintentionally strike the person who wakes them up. But you wouldn't kill them or cause irreparable harm. If you know or live with a sleepwalker, it's best to gently grab their arm and guide them back to bed. Number 1. The last myth we'll review is whether we really only use 10% of our brain. This idea has been perpetuated in popular culture, but it's simply not true. Neuroscientists and brain imaging studies have shown we use all parts of our brain, even if we don't use them all at once. The brain is a complex organ, and different parts are responsible for different functions, so we use all parts of our brain, even if we don't use them at the same time. I kindly ask that if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. That's all for today. See you next time.